Previously on Crusader Kings Stories.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode of Crusader Kings Stories. In the last episode, we united all of Islam. Nevertheless, we still managed to fail our little challenge. If you want to know what happened there, check out my latest video. In today's episode, we are playing as the Netherlands. Today, I'm trying to make the Netherlands the most powerful trading power in the North Sea. Stay tuned to see if I can pull it off this time. And yes, maybe this time it's also not only about CK3, I integrated some other games. If you like this content, please consider subscribing and leaving a like to these videos. It would help me a lot. I put a lot of hours of work into these videos and the subscription will really help me out. The next benchmark are 500 subscribers, so please help me out here a little bit. Thank you. And now enough of that, let's jump into the video. At first, like in every playthrough, I make some basic steps and set up my empire. Of course, go for development and for faster lifestyle experience. And then I got attacked directly from the start. Luckily, I survived this 24% murder attempt on myself. And to make sure that that not happened too often, I hired some bodyguards. All this empire building is pretty exhausting. Time for a little break in the Dutch forests. I headed through the city of Haarlem, and then it started raining in the forests. But I managed to find the purpose of my travels. Unfortunately, I missed. I got unlucky there, but it will be successful next time for sure. Directly after the hunt, I got called to war by my ally Goliath. In my south, they got attacked from their enemies, so I had to stand at their side. And I was able to select the first dynasty perk tree. This time, I decided to go for the law perks. The enemy army is depleted by 10% and they lost a bunch of troops. And after that coincidence, I decided to go for the sewage system for the additional building slot, because the victory was right around the corner. And then the Jihad for Castile happened, pretty early, but the Muslims decided to go for Christian Kingdom. Let's see if they are successful. I didn't really participate in that, because I had my own things to deal with. And I got attacked by a vassal of mine who wants to sit on my throne. After enacting the possibility to get 100 more troops and calling my allies, I was ready to face my enemy on the battlefield. Mainly because of my allies, I was able to defeat my enemy here in the battle. Otherwise, I would be pretty much lost. After winning the second battle of this war, it's looking really promising. And also the Crusaders, it's looking pretty good for us. After conquering the capital of my vassal, I was able to defeat them entirely. And of course I decided to revoke his titles, so he will not oppose a threat another time for me. And after that I was able to form the Kingdom of Phrygia. And I got access to the Frisian court now, with house banners and more. As a mighty king now I have new possibilities, and one of them is that my liege is giving me my rightful vassals. As a united kingdom, now the next event happened. The faithful prepare for war again for the Kingdom of Jerusalem. And of course I have to dedicate my troops to that. If you have seen my Venice Trading Empire video, you know what this is all about here. I still got PTSD from the battles over the region of Pula. Back to the Crusade, we got completely clapped by the Muslims. Back from Jerusalem, it's time for another hunt. This time in the forests of Oman, in the eastern part of my kingdom. I was able to hit my shot this time, and with it, add another trophy to my court. We all know him very well. Let's hope he will not become a problem for me and my kingdom. After adding some professional troops to my army, I upgraded my manor. And I'm also known as the hunter now. That's pretty surprising. I celebrated only 2 hunts. In one of them I missed my shot miserably, and the other one I hit successfully, but it seems like that's all that it needs to become a hunter. You may see the St. Lazarus decision, more on that later. In the same time, the Byzantine Empire fell apart, and I was able to get my second dynasty purge. And of course, my army needs to get better. Because of that, I recruited some ministerials, some heavy cavalry units. And slowly and steady building up my manor more and more. This time the workshop. And because of the decision I talked about earlier, I had to do a pilgrimage to get the necessary level of devotion and also enough opinion from the Pope. So because of that I also offered him some troops in exchange for opinion gain and even a little claim on him. 500 troops for 150 gold. And I managed to get to Rome without any interruptions. Back from Rome with a successful pilgrimage. I only need the right amount of opinion from the Pope, so I decided to send him a gift for the remaining opinion I needed to activate the decision and make use of it. I get the younger nickname instead of the hunter nickname and the Grand Lazarus county modifier for 200 years. And not only that, I also get a unique man-at-arms unit, the Lazarus Knights. With a stronger army, I decided to check out my former ally's army. And while I'm at it, I also try to get a claim on his title. But I only get a 19% chance on that, so you will see that will take some time. My fat ass is now overweight and infertile, so I don't have any children. At a glance on my vassals, I saw that their armies are superior to mine. They have, at best, 4,500 troops, and I only have 2,000 300. So even though I recruited some men-at-arms, it looks like it's still not enough. As the new king, I organized a tournament in my name, so that we might discover the strongest knights in the kingdom. The team contest was won by my knights, so I was successful here as well. But I'm also ready for my own duel. And I even placed a bet on myself. GG. All in all, it was a successful tournament, even though my doctors did an amazing job patching me up after my own fight lasted about 5 seconds. Time for the third perk, reduce building construction cost and more stewardship lifestyle experience. Unbalance between my troops and my vassal's troops seem to finally trigger an uprising. But the most powerful vassal of mine isn't part of the uprising, so I decided to change his alliance in the civil war so he will join me and not my enemies. And with his support I was able to face my enemies on the battlefield as well. Even though I achieved a great victory together with my allies, I do suffer a lot here. We both have lost many men, but as I conquered his capital, I was able to enforce my demands and end this uprising. In the beginning, I focused on building army and building up my manor, but now I need to focus also on my buildings inside of my holdings. I needed a little bit of gold, so I decided to go for a little gamble here. And I actually won 20 gold, but I'm stupid and I don't know how math works. But after a couple of weeks of waiting, I got enough gold to build my watermill. And this building was the last thing I achieved to do. I died in the age of 44 after 6 years of reign. My brother now reigns in my place and our two armies were merged. So I had to do a little bit of management, delete some units and restructure my whole army now. My brother won't reign for long either. He too will die soon after 5 years and his 15-year-old son will be the new king. The Mongol Empire has already expanded beyond the borders of India and they are getting closer to territories that are becoming a cause for concern for me as well. So let's do what we can do best and build our cities and holdings. I also managed to build my own crown now. Do you guys still remember the claim I tried to get? The 19%? It took me all in all over 16 years to get this claim, but I finally managed to get it. And when looking at his allies, I saw that he's allied with the HRE by itself. So that's something for later. Let's start another tournament now. Or participate in one, because that's not my tournament. I set sail to the Hörderland, somewhere in Norway, and put on my own armor. At least I put on a better fight than my great uncle, but I guess my family isn't really cut out for one-on-one duels. During the wrestling tournament, unfair tactics were used and someone smuggled an axe into the ring. Hopefully I will be alright. In the end, I still managed to win the Racketeer tournament, and so I won the prize brooch. But the happiness wasn't for long. I died on my way back home inside of my ship. And so my 55 years old uncle became the new king. Unfortunately, my uncle didn't manage to get a child, and so I tried to get my heir. And it seemed like he was a dwarf, so it's nothing too promising for the future of my realm. A second crusade for Jerusalem was proclaimed, and on the way there, I died, and now my son, the dwarf, is the new king. Around 5 years in, I got my first uprising, but this time it wasn't from vassals, it was from the peasants. So it was an easy task to destroy that uprising, but I took the chance and hired the peasant leader as my knight. That's a knight for free. By the way, with the direct access to water, you receive average or even better, depending on various environments, trade power. So you receive per month extra gold when you are building up your empire and your cities, so that you get bonus gold when you have access and you can make trade deals. I'm a legitimate bastard and I'm a dwarf, so I had to deal with many uprisings in the early years of my reign. So slowly and steady I built up my kingdom more and more, to the point where I had a population of 1.4 million. Look at him, the mighty dwarf king in the Dutch region. Unfortunately, an epidemic broke out and I get the trait smallpox and died after 13 years of reign. I left behind a fractured kingdom. My once united mighty Frisian kingdom now broke apart, and so I had to call for my Kaiser to make the right decisions and to make my claims reality again. So at least I get the kingdom title of Frisia again, but still I lost quite some land. So I decided to go for some claims on my former capital, Amsterdam. In the meantime, the Rhine River flooded the land, and I managed to get the claim on the Duchy of Holland. And also the Mongol Empire died, but out of that empire, the Chinese hegemony has risen really powerful. Now with a claim in my pockets over the Duchy of Holland, I can go back to my liege again, and he will grant me my rightful vassals again. But now I still don't have my capital back. The current holder is allied with a strong force in Spain. My idea was that if I could just defeat him quickly enough, the Spaniard wouldn't be a problem either. So I go for a fast Blitzkrieg here to defeat my enemy. Even the Duchy of Angria offered me some troops. 500 well-prepared armored footmen. Thank you for that. And after sieging his capital, or let's say my capital, the Spains arrived on my coast, but I died while I was at war, and so my son took over and he fulfilled what I was about to do. The Spains had a brutal force, but their army consisted mainly of peasants and a few light infantrymen, so I was still able to defeat them in battle, even though I were heavily outnumbered by them. One last battle at my walls, together with my ally, I faced an equal enemy. In the end, a well-prepared and well-trained army always defeats an unprofessional army. With that heroic victory, I was able to get my capital back. And now we are counting 1.66 million people. I marched to my liege's court once again, so I get a permanent council position. For now as his chancellor. Also, the Teutonic Order has arrived. Let's see what they're able to achieve. And the Jihad for France occurred. It looks like when we are attacked in our home country, we want to defend our home, and so everybody is participating. No, no, no! It's one thing to set sail to distant shores, or to have to defend your home against Islam. The Arabs have made a serious mistake here and provoked the Christians. Right in the thick of action, I finally activated the last perk tree of the Law Dynasty perk tree, and based on my reaction, you can see that I was really happy about that to finally get another domain limit. The Muslims have been defeated and the windmills got built up one more time. It wasn't until 20 years later that I first realized just how powerful the Hanseatic League had become. The Hanseatic League, by the way, was a medieval alliance of North German merchants and cities that dominated trade in the Baltic and North Sea region. And I mean, that's my purpose in this playthrough. I decided to take action and exploit the current political situation in the Empire. The Emperor is currently dealing with a major domestic uprising involving many of his most powerful vassals. Now is the right time to finally fight for my independence. Political intrigue alone will never make me independent, so I must use my military strength. I already created an independence faction, but nobody wanted to join, so I am alone to press the demands here. And I am in war now. For my survival. Great start, 10% of my army strength depleted. And my ally got crushed by the HRE. But I managed to conquer Holding in the north because he was distracted. And then for some weird reason, my ally inside of my army decided to change sides and attack me. That must have been some political intrigue from the Kaiser. After 2 years of war, the Emperor still decided not to march against me. He probably wanted to put an end to the major uprising in his country first. So I'm racing against time here. If I'm not quick enough, the Emperor will easily defeat me on the battlefield. But it didn't come to that. After sieging one last holding, I was able to accumulate enough percentage to press my demands. And I finally became independent from the HRE. On the one hand, it offers huge possibilities for me now. But on the other hand, it opposes big threats with France, England and the HRE on my borders. But at first I changed my government type and became a merchant republic. Being a merchant republic is advantage and disadvantage at the same time. When you are at peace, you are extremely powerful, but when you are at war, you suffer from reduced levies and night limit and reduced monthly income. To make it manageable and to make sure that my family is still at top at every time, I enacted the elective selection type. Whenever there's an election, that is every 4 years now, I can support my preferred candidate in their political campaign, so it's not RNG who will be the next ruler. And looking at the truce, I'm only safe for 5 years now. I have a truce for 5 years with the HRE, so I need to become as strong as possible in these 5 years, so the great powers of Europe will not directly attack me. And now let's make what we are all here for. I'm not the Kingdom of Frisia anymore. I am the Merchant Republic of Netherlands. And therefore I need another coat of arms. After introducing a new branding for my realm, let me introduce you to the trade deals feature. With that, I can start making trade deals with whomever I want inside of my diplomatic range. And by the way, Middlesbrough has reached the threshold of a specific development count, so I can build a special building there. And also, directly after I changed the government to the Merchant Republic, I sent out a courier of mine, Marco Polo, to go to the Silk Road and bring me back 1,500 gold. With that gold, I build up my army even more. And started to make the first trade deal. I also established a trade route. In that case, it gives me 25% more income. The Ottomans have also arrived. And I'm now a multilingual merchant from the Netherlands. And also my negotiated trade deal was successful. I now have a trade deal with the Empire of Francia, which gives me 1.2 gold extra. And I was extremely lucky, and it got nullified real quick. So I had to do it again. I wanted to establish a trade presence in the HRE. That's why I traveled to the Emperor and tried to convince him that working together would be in both parties' best interests. Unfortunately, he had not the same opinion. I must prepare myself for the worst. But at least the trade deal with the Empire of Francia is on the start again. And I was doing my best to build up my family palace once again from the start. And the first election commenced. I funded my own campaign to make sure I will be the next High Magistrate. The first election ran without any interferences. And I decided to go for a little pilgrimage to Aachen. To get a bunch of currencies, the pilgrimage trade, and to lose some stress. A Merchant Republic goes hand in hand with the Republican legacy. Here I can choose the best bonuses from various trees. In my case, I decided to go for another domain limit. And of course, build the windmills, the best building in game. The next negotiated trade deal was successful with the Arabian Empire. I am not anymore hostile with the Arabs, so I make trade deals. I get 40 gold now with my 2 trade deals already. Really unlucky, I lost Marco Polo somewhere in the Silk Road. I activated the defensive negotiations perk to purchase truces with other nations. In exchange for gold, I get 15 years of truce with the nation I want, if they are willing to accept. It only took me a couple of years to fully modernize my family palace and to make another successful trade deal with the Kingdom of Italy. And the faithful prepare for war once again. Maybe it's successful this time. I had immense problems to keep my stress level under control, so I decided to get rid of the shy trade so I can actually reduce my stress level in feasts for the price of a current really high stress level, but that's manageable. I negotiated another trade deal with the Byzantine Empire and go for the Renaissance Fort to higher the development penalty to 90 development. And I sold my artifacts because I don't have a court anymore and they're pretty much useless. I don't know really why, but you don't have access to courts when you're a Merchant Republic. But I have access to 80 gold per month because of these trade deals. Let's go. And the faithful warriors landed on the coast. They fought a century battle at Usia. 200,000 men fought for their beliefs. the little sneaky merchant I am, I separated myself from the main army and conquered some land in the north. At first, it looked like the Christian got beaten like always, but more and more troops came, and then something happened. God must be involved here. The general of the Christians, out of nowhere, got 288 commander advantage. And with that huge advantage, the Christians were able to defeat the Arabs. And not only winning one battle by capturing the emperor of the Arabian Empire, winning the whole crusade in one fell swoop. Because I participated so bravely in this crusade, my nephew is now the king of Jerusalem. I also made a profit right away out of it and proposed a trade. In exchange for money again, I gained some bonuses, and most importantly, I get a truce. I didn't knew that, but when proposing trades, you make a truce with the other party. That's my insurance to make sure that I am at peace with all parties at all time in Europe as well. I invested my gold I gained from the crusade directly into my holdings and built up my trade deals as well with Denmark as well, and enacted the second perk for the legacy. And also I managed to get another dynasty perk tree. So I go for the Tone Mavens here later, hopefully. And also after some years, I fully modernized and built up my family palace. I made another trade deal with Portugal. You can say I am the Venice of the North Sea. But when I helped my ally, I died after 44 years of reign. And to make sure my son will be the next in line, I funded the campaign. It's really sad, but my RAM size is too small, so I can't look at my trade policies. Somehow, somewhere, I need to conquer a little bit of land to activate my trade policies. But before that, I gained another stack of gold from the Silk Road. This time I'm allied with the Kingdom and Empire of Italy and Italia, and they are in war with the HRE, and they're called to war. So I am in a tough situation here, but I decided to accept it because a weaker HRE is always better for me. In the HRE's south, they clapped the Italian forces in the beginning, and I tried to do the same what I did when I got my independence and conquered land in the HRE's north, because all their forces are in the south. So I conquered the capital and got in a little bit of fighting with some remaining troops. Was able to defeat them and arranged a betrothal with the Hanse. Also, the Empire of Francia is allied with the HRE, so the two big forces in Europe are together. I conquered the holding of Cologne, and somehow the Italian forces managed to accumulate over 20,000 troops, and with that they defeated the HRE and captured the Emperor. And the HRE lost a little bit of territory in their south. I must say I'm such a sneaky little snake. I decided to go for a trade deal after that war with the HRE, and they accepted. My army isn't still up to the standards of the big empires in Europe, so I decided to modernize it. I have more than enough gold. I go for the bombards as well. And with that, I have done everything I could. I introduced the Bogman as well and declared war on the Hansa. I need a little bit of territory, and that's the only force I can deal with. My reign wasn't for too long and I died really quick. But the throne of the Merchant Republic of Netherlands remained still to my former family. And while I was at war with the Hanse, I got elected and conquered holding by holding, and decided to go for one deciding battle by my own. By winning that heroic battle and defeating my enemy in the north again, I was able to... Oh, wait. Oh, my allies got clapped pretty hard by 5,000 troops only. I have no idea what kind of demons they have there, but luckily I didn't have to face them on the battlefield. The war was decided when I captured key territories. I also collected a bunch of other claims from the Hanse, Bremen at first and then going to the west. I have a trade deal now with pretty much every nation in the North Sea, and I completely control all the trade in the North Sea. I activated the third perk here as well. And the faithful prepare for war another time, but not Jerusalem. This time they are going for Andalusia. And now I can finally interact with the trade policies. I want to combat piracy because I want to get rid of these piracy penalties. They occur from time to time. With the trade policies, I don't really use gold anymore. And another crusade started. Andalusia has been conquered, and with that my sister is now the Queen of Andalusia. I still have some claims, and throughout heaven and earth I alone am destined to control all of the trade in the North Sea. There can only be one ruling party, so I need to defeat the Hanse entirely. The one big battle wasn't enough. The Hanse had another army of 20,000 troops, but I still managed to defeat his second army as well. And with the victory in the second battle as well, I was able to win the war. The Republic of Netherlands grows stronger and stronger, and now I hold the capital of the Hanse, Lübeck. Some peaceful years lay before us. I thought I saw that something is brewing in the east. The Black Death has arrived and brings death and destruction. In the year 1347, my entire realm is in the hands of the Black Death. And I died after 9 years of reign, and so my successor needs to deal with that problem. All of my cities, all of my holdings laid to waste. The plague had spread to almost the entire world, better than every human could ever do. All of Europe, North Africa, the Arab world, and especially my realm. And in the midst of all that, some peasants decided to start an uprising. Whatever at this point, I guess, but there are still uprisings. So I upgraded my army even more. After 8 years, the plague has ended, and I decided to organize one last tournament in my name and to celebrate the victory over the plague. The last tournaments weren't too successful. Let's see what happens this time. I can count on my knights. They were successful another time. And they won the melee contest. I also won in the board game this time and became the Grandmaster. But what happens in the duels? I've won the first round. I speedran the second round and I'm up for the final. I can tell you, the final was a big challenge, but I was still able to defeat my great enemy here and managed to win my first duel in a tournament. All of these prizes are a welcome gift to my collection. After all those years, I finally ratified the civic authority. I mean, it's already clear that I won this war, but the Duchy of Angria overtook the territories of the Hanse, So I decided to finally combine the Netherlands and the Hanse under one banner. And by winning against the Duchy of Angria, that was pretty easy by the way, the Netherlands Republic is now officially the one and only ruler in the North Sea. But let's be honest, that's only a snapshot. If we look in the future, is the Republic of Netherlands really able to sustain their independence among the great forces in Europe?